See, you had no idea that family cars can be fun.
All right.
And you're a family man, you should know this.
Yes, family cars can be fun, but it was all the other things that I got to see today that made it such a cool adventure.
So one could say it was the vehicle to entertainment. Allow me to explain. A couple of weeks ago, Kia calls me and says, hey, come up to the Sierra Nevadas and drive our all-new 2016 Kia Sorento Crossover. Not exactly the most exciting mode of transport, but a great offer nonetheless. So I decided to enlist the help of my good friend and family man, Roman Mica. But then it dawned on me, this is a vacation paradise. So instead of just geeking out over said car, why don't we change up the plan on old Roman and take in the off-the-beaten-path, not-so-touristy stops in and around Lake Tahoe, California. Okay, so let's get the geeky stuff out of the way. There are 3 engines that are on offer. First up is a 2.4-liter 4-cylinder with 185 horsepower that puts out 178 pound-feet of torque at a rather generous 4,000 RPM. Next up is a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo that puts out 240 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque at a very low 1,400 RPM. Then we move on up to the 3.3-liter V6 that's 290 horsepower and 252 pound-feet of torque at, again, a rather generous 5,300 RPM. Now, let's bring on Roman. Okay, so this is the V6.
Yeah, it's a big one.
This is the big one in a Kia. This is the GTO version of the Kia Sorento.
And I love that it's not a CVT.
Oh, I don't know about you. I just hate those things.
Yeah.
I understand the MPG aspect. I'm not a fan, so you gotta take your hat off to Kia for doing this.
I know. Imagine a world where we're grateful for an automatic 6-speed transmission, MotoMan. That's crazy.
We are getting old, and we're thanks for automatics. I mean, what happened to us? Damn it! Where's the 6-speed manual? Where's the 3rd pedal?
MotoMan, how does it drive?
I'm pleasantly surprised to say it's got some pep to it. Like, let's go down to a lower gear.
Yep.
And like put our foot into it. And I'm surprised it actually has this much get up and go, because if you remember, this thing it's a 109-inch wheelbase, so it's a little bit longer. So you'd think the same power with more weight wouldn't work, but it actually kind of works here. And I would argue that is because there is a real gear transmission.
No doubt. You're absolutely correct.
I will say, if someone were asking me to retune this vehicle, I would probably retune the steering. Even with this drive mode where you can adjust it, on its most sports setting, it's still too light.
If I'm being honest, I think that is a gimmick. If you're buying this vehicle, you're buying it for value, you're buying it for utility, and you're not buying it for a sporty drive.
Well, now, speaking of value, what else is new here? Because this vehicle, it actually looks very similar to the one it replaces.
Yeah, so there are a number of new things, including, I think, the most striking part of those quad LED lights. That's how you can tell the 2016 from the previous model. The headlights are pinched in a little bit more, but it looks very similar.
So it's a refresh or a redesign?
It's a complete redesign.
So it's a totally new body?
According to Kia, it's completely new. It's 50% stiffer, a lot more use of high tensile steel. To me, the big news on this is the interior. I just think they did a hell of a nice job.
I'm stunned by this.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly don't think I'm in a Kia at this point.
No, there's nothing you can look at or touch to say this is an inexpensive or bargain basement car. Of course, we are in the high-end model.
Yeah, we are in the $43,000
model.
Yeah.
That's a lot of...
But you know how we roll. We roll in style, man.
We always roll in style.
Last time we got together, we rode a Bentley.
Yeah.
And with that, now is a perfect time to introduce Roman to our new plan.
Yeah, I think we're lost.
Okay, so
This
2
is your
things.
fault.
No, this is an adventure. Number 1, I promised you we'd be going on an adventure around this area and learning things.
Yeah, all right.
Number 2, how many people who buy these things actually are going to take them here?
You, that's it.
This is really off-road.
Yeah, this is crazy off-road.
But it's more than just off-road. This is a historical site. This is the Donner Pass. Do you know about the Donner Pass?
Yeah, I know about the Donner Pass.
Oregon Trail, baby.
How hungry are you?
Well, okay, so that's the history.
All right.
So most people think the Donner Pass is named after the people that actually founded it. It actually was founded in 1844 by the people who got through and went all the way to California. But really what happened was the Donner Party in 1846. 81 people started to go through, but they hit it in the winter. The trail, this whole area here.
Like now, winter?
Yeah, but luckily there's no snow. They were blocked by snow.
All right.
So basically when the snow melted, there were 45 that got to the other side of the range.
You know, it's so beautiful here. I can't imagine what it must have been like in the 1800s when this actually happened.
It's unbelievable. I can tell you this, there wasn't an In-N-Out Burger on the other side of the pass like there is
there's
now.
an In-N-Out Burger here?
There is an In-N-Out Burger.
All right, let's get the heck out of here.
Okay.
I'd go for a burger.
Okay, to our next stop. So this is the 4-cylinder turbo.
Yes, the new one.
This is the new one.
Now it's brand new. Now you got a brand new engine, a brand new design, a brand new chassis.
And a brand new lean.
Yes, it does lean.
It leans a little bit.
Yeah.
It leans a lot, actually.
It leans a lot. it's a big family truckster. But that's not the right yardstick. You can't hold it to that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. You got to put your foot into it a bit more than the V6, which obviously you would.
Yeah.
But what's the torque on this one?
260.
260. So it's a little down on the V6.
Yes.
And isn't the V6 the one that's got the towing capacity? It's like a 5,000 pound towing. That's pretty good.
Yes, much better.
Do you know what towing capacity is on, say, like the Jeep or anything like that?
They're all between 3 and... Well, the Jeep, actually the Jeep I do know because we towed up that. The Grand Cherokee, I think, is 7,000. It's a lot. And that's with the diesel.
That's with the diesel, though.
Yeah, that's with the diesel.
It's a $50,000 car.
They're all around 5,000.
Yeah,
You know, they're
I like
all...
that diesel, man. That's nice, but it's a lot of money.
All right,
Yeah.
so it's got this E-diff. Tell me about that.
So it turns out, it says it's like a differential lock.
Yeah.
It's not a full-on, like, remember the old school
The
pickup
it would
trucks
lock
where
it,
you
yeah.
hit that and it locks all four wheels?
Yeah, exactly. That's
it doesn't lock all 4 wheels. It's like an E-diff, and there's a viscous coupling down there that basically allows for a little slip.
Of
so
course.
It's not locked 100% of the time.
Yeah, of course. I didn't think it would be. It's basically an electronic version of a mechanical differential lock.
Although, when we were off-road at Donner Pass.
Yes, I remember that.
I had to turn this thing on in the V6 to get it up there.
And?
The car wouldn't go up that hill without the differential lock. So it really does work. Okay, so maybe Donner Pass was a bit much for Roman. So let's switch gears and take him to a place where he can feel more comfortable. Perhaps get in touch with his youth. So one of the pioneers in gambling, not that you and I are big gamblers, basically this man grew up in Southern California and was going to go off to university, live the American dream. Had to drop out because of the Depression.
Yeah.
Went into the family business, which was a bunch of different businesses, and ultimately took over this game called Reno, and took it from making like $5 and $10 a week. This is back in the Depression, so that was a lot of money, into $25,000 and $50,000.
That's a lot of money back then.
Well, Southern California, the government basically took notice and said, no, that's a game of chance. He goes, no, it's a game of skill. No, it's a game of chance. So he basically picked up stakes and moved to Nevada and turned it into the Harrah's empire that you know today. And ultimately, this is where he earned his money to put together a 1,400 car collection.
Oh my
Can you
God.
believe that? And the first car is still here, a red Maxwell. They still have it.
There's some gorgeous cars
Like
here.
that 540K over there.
Oh, I know.
So, fantastic story, but obviously came to an end. In 1978, he died. Well, Holiday Inn, they came in and bought the whole empire. Harrah's, everything, including the collection. And then I think in the early 80s is when the transaction went through, they announced they were going to sell the whole collection.
Oh, you can't.
Exactly.
It's taken the whole lifetime to put these cars together.
That was everybody's reaction.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So they ended up donating a bunch of the cars to a foundation which became this great museum. And then they staged a number of auctions through the mid-80s and sold a bunch of the collection. So 1,400 down to like a few. But here's the little known fact. So you went to Pebble Beach, right?
Yeah, I sure did, man. Crazy cool cars.
And you see these amazingly, like almost over-restored pre-war
yeah,
cars.
Yeah, these are pristine.
Exactly. Well, a number of those are owned by a guy named Bob Lee, who's based in Sparks, Nevada, not far from here. Anyway, he has reamassed some of those Harrah cars, some of the better ones.
Well, I am crazy impressed. I mean, if you're a car guy or a car gal,
Gotta
this
check it
is the
out.
place you got to come to.
Absolutely. But we need to press on because we got another place to go to.
More.
Believe it or not, that has something to do with this.
All right,
in
you
a
got
kind
me
of a
interested.
roundabout way.
All right. You got my curiosity going.
Everyone talks about value in craftsmanship. What does value mean?
I can tell you exactly what that means. It means for the same price of the competitive brand, in this vehicle, you're going to get heated and cooled seats. You're going to get a heated steering wheel. You're going to get a panoramic roof.
Get a heated steering wheel?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So you're just going to get a lot more cool stuff for the same price. And so when you're out there shopping, you're like, hey, I can get the Edge, or I can get the Kia, and the Kia has, yada, 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 right? Whereas the Edge, those are all added-ons or they cost more. And that's what I mean by value. This segment is just expanding like crazy, right? There's a lot more of these kind of family crossovers.
Well, what's come out recently? And let's say the past couple of years.
Everything.
Like everybody's got a crossover.
Yeah, it's every
Even Mini.
Yeah. Oh
they
yeah.
have a crossover.
Everybody has a crossover. Everybody has some version of this car.
And BMW.
And BMW.
And now we're talking about the Lexus, the NX.
Yeah, all the German brands.
Everybody's got. So I did a little research before I got here.
Nice.
I was surprised to find this out. So, wild guess, what is the best-selling car in America?
Toyota Camry.
Toyota Camry car. See, I was trying to mislead you.
I knew that.
The best-selling vehicle. Dude. Well, it's Ford F-150.
Yeah, I know that too.
763,000 were sold last year.
We love trucks.
Yeah, this man owns a Ford F-150. Granted, the fancy one. But they sold 460,000 Camrys last year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I did a little research on where the crossovers fit into that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Number one crossover, take a while to guess which one.
Number one crossover. Holy cow, that's a tough one. And what's just period crossover?
Just crossover. Not the size, just crossover.
Wow. I'm going through my brain. I'm thinking it might be some...
I can smell the rubber burning.
I'm thinking it might be some... It's going to be a Ford, Toyota, or GM, right?
You didn't get any of them.
No?
Honda. CRV.
Really? The CRV's the number one?
Top selling.
Right.
They did like 330 or 350,000 of them last year. To give you an idea, that's how many Civics were sold last year.
Oh, now that
Ford
is
was close.
cool.
Good guess on Ford. 295,000 Escapes they sold last year.
Okay.
But then, get this. How many SUVs, Jeep Grand Cherokees, did they sell last year? That's a basic comparison.
Not as many, 150,000.
Close, 175. So look at the difference in the segment. The crossovers, almost to the D segment cars, meaning the number one volume cars, yet the SUVs are still down below 200,000 in volume. Okay, so I think we've covered just about everything about the Sorento. But you know how when you go on vacation with your friends, your family, or even your girlfriend, everybody else wants to go to like 10 different places. But you've got that one place you're really excited about. Friends, we're about to see mine.
This may seem like an obvious question, but what the heck are we doing on a beach in Lake Tahoe in the middle of December?
Because I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse.
You're going to make me an offer I can't refuse.
Exactly.
All right.
Behold,
The
Fleur de Lac.
Flower of the lake.
Okay, so you've brushed up on your French.
And what has that to do with cars?
What? Nothing. But more importantly, what cinematic masterpiece, the I Chie to all men, was filmed here?
Dumb and Dumber?
You are Dumb and Dumber. None other.
Wait. Oh, I get it. Make you an offer I can't refuse. The Godfather.
Exactly.
This is the lake house.
This is the house where the Corleone family
Oh,
moved
so
their
cool.
compound out. This, you can still see the boathouse where Fredo did all his work. Where the band shell was, now it's obviously a barbecue. It's currently a suburb.
Okay.
There is where the main house was, it's still a private residence, it's been renovated.
Yeah.
But you can still see the original Corleone compound here.
Wow.
You can even hear Fredo
And the music
with his
playing.
Hail Marys right outside.
So how did you find this place?
You know, the old man never told me about this,
Yeah.
but Johnny Ola, he told me about this place. And I had a couple of those red-headed Yolandas while I was here last. So click here to watch one of our 250 other episodes. Click here to subscribe. And can we ask you guys a favor? Can you watch these within the first 36 hours? Because it gets us more views, it gets us more dollars, which get you more episodes. And of course, follow us, MotoManTV, all one word, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'll see you guys next time.